Aisha, I love this. Welcome, welcome. That's amazing. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. Alexa, stop. Okay. All right. We're going to jump into it and then let people come in as they need to. I'm so excited. Happy Wednesday. This is our Wednesday tapping session that we do the majority of the month. I have a week of sabbatical, but we do our best to make sure that we have this space for us to transmute and transform our energy using emotional freedom techniques like tapping. And I'm very excited to talk about today. Like, it's gonna be so good. I'm just chatting with everyone in the chat right now. Yeah, Aisha, going to Paris, like for your daughter's birthday is a vibe. We love this. We love this. I'm gonna end for your birthday too, as you should. Oh wait, is it for both of your birthdays, or is it just your birthday? Because if it's your birthday, like happy birthday. I love celebrating birthdays. It's literally one of the things that like brings me so much joy. I thoroughly love it so much. I love to celebrate birthdays. Your daughter sent you to Paris for your birthday? That's incredible. Hi, Jack. It was your first solo trip ever. What a blessing to have your daughter create that experience for you. That is amazing. That's a win. I'm writing that down, Aisha, because that's so good. That is so good. Okay. Um, if anyone else has any wins that they want to share, please drop them in the chat. Please drop them in the chat, okay? I have been amplifying my prayer ritual and routine, and it has been so satisfying doing so. So I feel like that's a personal win. Like I feel even more tapped in, even more tuned in to source and just the beauty and blessings that this world has to offer. So I love when I get to learn things that allow me to be more efficient in my practices. You know, it's always a good time. So I'm very grateful for that. Yes, you are very, very, very blessed and happy, happy birthday. For Scorpios, I never say happy belated birthday because I mean, and I'm pretty sure you'll attest to this, we celebrate our birthdays the entire season. So there's a day that is the peak, but it's the entire season for us. And I feel like Leos do the same thing too. They celebrate all season long. Yes. Thank y'all for sending love to Debbie. We're going to talk about amplifying our energy today, too, in class. So I feel like that would be really good. I was sitting with Source, and I'm just like, you guys know I never really know what I'm teaching until like I'm told what to teach, um, which is always exciting. You know, it's definitely helped me with any experiences with anxiety because I used to be I'm a super planner. I like to plan things out to a T. So to teach class in this way does a few things for me. It quells that anxiety because it makes me trust more in source and providing um, the insights and information that I need in the moment, which can be very distressing, you know. But also it allows me to feel really connected because I know that this is not coming from maybe like a distorted ego, but from what the collective's energy is calling us in to focus on. So that's what I'm really, really excited about too. Okay. All right. So amplifying our energy, focusing on what truly matters. I'm so excited to talk about this because I was thinking about it earlier in a few instances in my life where I have misused my energy and how it's made me feel. And then I was wondering, like, well, how does this affect me, like, in my brain and in my body, but also in my spirit when I do these things, when I misuse my energy. So we're going to talk about that and then we're going to tap in so that we can realign our energy and realign our focus so we can put energy into the things that actually matter. And we've touched on this concept before when I spoke about the tale of two wolves. Which wolf are you feeding? When you're talking about like worry and fear and stagnation and like, poverty mindset, that's one wolf. And then you have another wolf that's joy, expansion, happiness, abundance. And both of these wolves live within you. And it is up to you to decide which wolf you feed. And you feed the wolf by giving it attention, by giving it your energy. And whatever wolf you're feeding is going to get stronger and bigger and have more influence while the other wolf is starving, right? So it's important to know which wolf are you feeding. Are you feeding the wolf that's going to allow you to have more abundance in your life, that's going to allow you to feel more joy? Or are you feeding the wolf that allows you to feel more anxious in the world, feel heavier emotions, call on, and attract unhealthy attachments? These are things that we want to be mindful of, because it's super easy for us to fall into feeding the wrong wolf, right? And we're going to talk about that. So I'm very excited. Yes, I'm celebrating the rest of the year. True Scorpio. As am I. As am I. I'm celebrating all Sagittarius season 2. My progressive sun agrees. Okay? This is your 50th. Happy birthday! Oh my goodness. And then I'm sending you so much love for the loss of your husband. I'm making the most out of life, as you should. As you should. I was just talking to one of my one of my girlfriends. She actually was my teacher and mentor during my trauma informed studies, and we had like a really good heart to heart yesterday, and it felt very peer to peer. And we were talking about the loss that I experienced earlier this year myself, and how I'm in this really beautiful state of joy, and how I didn't think that was possible to do within a year's time frame. And not to say that I'm not still experiencing moments of grief, but it's a different type of grief, a different type of experience with it. But it's so incredible to witness how you can move through something that you felt like you would never get through, and find a way to accept what happened, but also to still have a sense of love for life. I feel like because of the loss that I've had, I really want to live life well, almost in honor of them as well as myself. So I don't know if you also feel like that, Aisha, but that's how it resonated for me. And just seeing that message of you still choosing to go and celebrate. That's beautiful. And it's not an easy thing to do. It can be extremely hard. I know when my aunt lost my uncle during COVID, it wounded her so deeply. It took her time to be able to even want to express or experience joy without her partner. So for you to be able to lean into that, it speaks to your Scorpio nature. It really does. There's one thing about it, two things for sure. For certain, Scorpios, we transform, we transcend. The heaviness in life, the things that tend to weigh a lot of people down, we have this ability to carry with a sense of grace. And you being able to go celebrate your 50th birthday, another year around the sun, and to do it in such a beautiful country, to have your daughter bless you with that experience, it's just a testament of your growth and your alignment. So I just want to hold space for that. Okay. Yeah, Jack, like in honor of them. Yeah, I agree. Oh, yes. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. It's going to be so good. Okay. So, first and foremost, I was thinking about how we misuse energy. So, when we are focusing on things like worry, when we're focusing things on fear, being in drama, right? Sometimes it's not even our drama that we're in, but we're in it. We end up putting our energy there. And then simultaneously, and let me know if you've had this experience, because I know I've had this for myself, we're missing out on things that we actually do care about. The experiences we actually want to pour our energy into. It's almost like they happen parallel, right? So I was thinking about it for myself with one of my close girlfriends, and she had like completely missed my birthday, which is not like a big deal. It's totally fine. People live life. But she was just kind of like, girl, I was just so wrapped up in drama. Like, I completely forgot about your birthday. Like, happy birthday. Like, I hope everything is okay. And it just had me thinking how often we tend to do that. We know that there's something else we'd rather put our energy and attention towards. We know that for certain. Like, I know for certain she wanted to put her energy and attention towards celebrating me in my life. But somehow the energy went towards the drama and being in a place she didn't even want to be in. She didn't want to be in that experience, right? She didn't want to actively be involved in drama when she could have been celebrating someone she cares about. And it made me think about how often we do that. I thought about it for myself too. It takes a very conscious decision to show up and put your energy where you want it to go. I think people think, you say that saying like, where your attention goes, your energy flows. And it sounds really whimsical and really sweet, but it really requires deep alignment and concentration to be like, you know what? I'm not going to put my energy towards this because this is not serving me. It's not serving people that I care for. Instead, I'm gonna refocus. I'm gonna reprioritize my energy to go towards things that are going to bring me life, that are going to provide me joy, that are going to provide me healing and growth instead. It is definitely something that I would say is easier said than done because there's a lot that goes on in the brain that makes us make those decisions subconsciously, as well as in the body, how the body shows up when we make decisions, and in the spirit. When our spirit is not nourished and cared for the way that it needs to be, it's very easy for us to feel like we are making a good decision only to reflect on later that we misused our energy. Let me know if that makes sense. Yeah, really missing what we care about. And I want to define what energy is. So when I'm talking about energy, I'm talking about focus, time, the essence, and the effort that you give to your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. Okay? We, though energy is a limitless thing, many of us do not know how to tap into that limitless energy. It's limitless. There are very easy and efficient ways to tap into that limitless energy. But what we tend to do, because of the society that we interact in, we tend to pull energy from other people, other places, which makes it feel very limited. So if you're coming from that space, which many of us are, and self included, you need to know how to redirect your energy because you really only have a certain amount of it each day to have access to, and you don't want to go in towards things that are not going to allow you to expand that energy and to amplify and multiply it. Here we go. So I want to talk about first and foremost how energy misuse happens in our brain, okay? Because you guys know I love talking about the beautiful thing in our minds, thing that helps us to understand life in a very interesting and sometimes incorrect way, if we're being honest. You know, the brain is a tool, it's not a leader. Yes. Yes, Jack. Yeah. The Celestine Prophecy was absolutely incredible in breaking down how energy works. Another good book, too, is The Energy Codes. They talk about how energy works as well and how you're able to pull from limitless sources and how you're able to cultivate the energy centers of our seven primary chakras and use that to help us navigate pretty much anything, to get through any type of trauma or experience that feels like it's holding you back. It's a really, really good, it's a really powerful book. It's a book that awakens you when you read it because you get flooded with memories that align with the insights in the book. It almost is like another part of your spirit and your mind turn on when you read that book. So read it with that understanding because it's really good though. Okay, so our brain is always in survival mode, by the way. It's never in thriving mode. I think people need to understand that. Like it's a very primitive tool that we have. It's to keep us alive. That's really the main goal of the brain. All the other things that we're able to do with it, there's even discussion and debate about like if imagination is within here. You know what I mean? Because when you understand the functionality of the brain, it makes you question if imagination belongs there because it's not for survival, it's for thriving, right? So first and foremost, talk about the amygdala, which I love talking about. It's like a little almond-shaped part of your brain, and it acts like an alarm system. It's designed to keep you safe by spotting danger and getting you to react quickly. It's what helps us to have that sense of, whoa, I should probably go there, right? The amygdala, I like to believe, works in tandem with our aura that we talked about, where that aura extends out in front of you, behind you, above you. When you have them working in tandem, it really allows you to feel super safe. But if your amygdala is like stressed out or overused, right, or constantly on, never has a rest period, you start to think that everything, right, feels fearful. You start to really lean into that energy of anxiety and anxiousness and like always on edge. You know, have you ever had that experience of just being like, oh, what was that? Like that means that your amygdala is like, it's been on. It hasn't rested yet, right? And that can trigger a lot for us. It can trigger the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn responses that also affect. So we're going to talk about what that looks like too, because many of us have as mm, a default experience that we'll lean into when we feel triggered, right? So fight obviously is like I'm ready to attack whatever it is that I'm fearful of because I refuse to go down without a fight. That is your brain's response of like, okay, tell the body to launch at it, to fight it off, right? Whatever that fear is. It could also be flights where it's your body, your brain is telling your body, we need to go. We need to get out of here. We got to scram because this is dangerous. This is unsafe. And I don't know if we're going to make it through. Then we have freeze where we are so overcome by that fear, that sense that something is going to harm us that we don't move at all in hopes that it doesn't see us. It's almost like maybe if I don't move, I'll be safe. And it will pretend it doesn't see me and it'll go somewhere else, right? Where you feel stuck in your energy. And then we have fawn, which has recently been discovered, maybe over the past like couple of years. And that's where we tend to like that people pleasing energy comes in to keep us alive, to help us to survive, where we're trying to please that fear or that outward enemy, right? Because we are deeply afraid of it. And hopefully, if we are appeasing enough, small enough, it'll be like, oh, you're too weak for me to attack anyway, you know? Like, or you know what? You've pleased me enough where I won't harm you today. So those are the 4 ways that our brain instantly goes into motion when we are feeling stress, when we are feeling fear. And that can really misuse our energy, right? Because if we're always going in our spaces, it's easy for us to just lean into that. Your brain is designed to do one of those 4 things instinctively. So can you see how when you have to make a decision between what feels really good, like celebrating someone you care about, or maybe doing a hobby or having the courage to do something new, as opposed to worrying and ruminating over something that may happen or that has already happened and you've survived? You see how easy it is for us to lean into that wolf that is not really serving us. Let me know if that makes sense, okay? I'm gonna check the comments really quickly. Yes, Aisha, amazing. You went to, yes, it is, it is. I love how we're sending Aisha so much love. Yes. Debbie, take your time. Let me know. Is the screen still frozen for you guys? Because I definitely feel like the service is a little weird today, but you know, we're good in all spaces, so okay. Yes, it's like learning a different way to live. Yeah, and you have to consistently teach your brain that, hey, I know instinctively you are designed to keep me alive, and I'm really grateful about that, by the way. Like, yeah, keep me alive, right? Like keep me safe, but also it is within my humanity and within my divinity to expand and to explore and to go other places and to experience things we never have before. So we have to find a way to have harmony with that. It's really important for us, right? Otherwise, we get caught up in putting our energy somewhere that keeps us small. A lot of times when I'm speaking to clients or students and they just feel like, oh, I don't really know, I don't have the energy to do these things that I feel in my heart. It is simply because our energy is going somewhere else. It's not that you don't have the energy, it's that the energy is going to the left when you need it to go to the right. You see what I mean? And when we start to look at energy with that level of insight and comprehension, then we get to ask ourselves in those moments, okay, I'm starting to worry, get a little upset, right? I know I'm in a bit of drama. Do I want to continue giving my energy to this? Sometimes you got to go through the drama. So sometimes it's a yes, I have to give my energy to this because I need to get through this. But most times you don't have to give into the worry. Most times you have to give into the fear. Most times you can tell your brain, once you have the ability to understand that's what's happening, you can let your brain know, like, yeah, we're not doing this right now. I don't want to put my energy towards this right now. Because all I'm doing is making more space for that to come back and to be refortified, to become a habit, to become a belief, a perspective that guides my life, that now creates a lens of how I see things. And I do not want to see things that way. There's a a need to redefine our relationship to our brain. And that is why I say, like, the brain, the ego, these are tools, not leaders. You are the leader. You are the author, the creator, the influencer. You are the head person in charge when it comes to this vessel and how this vessel shows up in the world. Outside of your connection to source, whoever you call on to in your time of need, you have that level of authority. You actually can have these conversations. Now, for some of us, we may need more support, be it through some type of therapy or alternative healing modality to give us that extra boost, depending on how long we've been in that state of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. We might need added support. But ultimately, whether we need the extra support or not, we can get to a space where we can tell our brains, hey, no, we're not doing that today, babes. We're not, and it's okay. And it doesn't have to be in a mean way or in an intense way. It could be in a very direct and kind way of like, I appreciate you trying to get me safe, but we're not doing that. I'm fine. I'm good. Thank you. But let's move forward, right? And this is important too in setting boundaries with ourselves. I talk about boundaries often, but usually it's because I'm answering questions of people like, well, how do I set boundaries for others? But boundaries are really for ourselves. They're for us. They're keep us safe, right? I often say, hi, how are you? I often say that our boundaries, the way that I have always envisioned boundaries for me and what allowed me to really understand it is my childhood home in Long Island. There's like a fence, right? There's a fence in my yard. Everything in that fence belongs to me. And that fence is a cute little picket fence, you know what I'm saying? And then when I want to open the gate and let something in or me go out and maybe expand my boundaries, I'm willing to do that. However, everything within there is to keep me feeling safe. That is what our boundaries are for. You have to also be able to set boundaries with your energy, with your brain, with your ego. I have boundaries with my ego. I have boundaries with my brain. And that's what allows me to have boundaries with other people and it be a very effortless thing because I'm willing to have them with myself. If you find yourself having a hard time creating boundaries with other people, I would encourage you to reflect and see if you have boundaries with yourself. Because if you don't have them with yourself, it's going to be nearly impossible to sustain boundaries with other people. Because there's no foundation there. There's nothing to back you. There's nothing for you to stand on. You have to have that boundary for yourself. So for me, going to a space of rumination is a boundary. And if I'm not able to sustain that boundary on my own, I call my therapist, right? I'll use tapping or a different healing modality to keep me within my boundaries. Because I know that once I exit that boundary, anything can happen. Once I get to that space of worry or rumination, I understand how important and how crucial and how influential my energy is. I'm only calling more of that stuff. And I genuinely do not want more. I barely want what I have. So I maintain those boundaries via spiritual hygiene, via keeping my body physically well to the best of my ability. You know, eating things that help me to nourish my brain, nourish my spirit, so that I can sit there and confidently say, we're not going there. There's no need for me to go and worry about this thing. There's no need for me to interact with this drama because your instinct is always going to be to get involved. I can't tell you how many times I am on social media and someone says something crazy, right? Something unnecessary. And my instinct is to, because for me, out of the four of them, fight is my way to go, right? I'm definitely more of a fighter than I am anything else. That's my first instinct, to go and fight. To hop on, get my Twitter fingers together and be like, how dare you? And I have to remind myself, okay, you're going to engage this person you don't know about a topic that you clearly know this person has very strong feelings about that you don't agree with. You're going to lean into this drama because what? How is this going to benefit you? Sometimes I'm just like, you know what? I just want to get off my chest because I'm in the mood. I'm in the moment. You know, I want to feel spicy and messy. And then I ask myself, like, do you really want to feel that way? Or it's like an old habit, an old belief coming up. And it's an opportunity for you to choose something different. Like, these are the conversations I'm constantly having with myself. This is not a one and done situation at all, right? Yes, I had similar communication with my mind yesterday. Yes, Grace. It's like, okay. put the phone down. And if you really want to be of service in this moment, send them a blessing. You know, send them a prayer. Set an intention. I hope that you have an experience needed for you to soften your heart, open your mind, so that you can be less ignorant in the world, so that people can be safe around you. That is a better use of my energy as opposed to me like cursing them out. Now, every now and then, because I am human and there is duality, yeah, you might get cursed out. But 90% of the time, no, I'm doing my best to keep my energy, because then in me doing that, I can't show up in other places. So an example I'll give you is when I was younger, also too, it's like a lot going on in the throat. Yeah, we'll sit with that. But when I was younger, when I first was diagnosed with lupus and RA, I found that like I had a lot of anger, obviously, right? Because like I was young, I was fiery, it was a lot. And I had to come to the realization that every time I expressed my anger in a way that wasn't healthy, right? Whether it was like yelling or trying to assert dominance, I would be exhausted afterwards. And not just like exhausted, like take a nap exhausted, like in the hospital exhausted, like hooked up to an IV exhausted. And that was probably one of the first big moments for me where I had to really decide, girl, where are you putting your energy? So you did all of this, made people understand who you are. You showed up, big bad wolf, right? And now you're in a hospital bed, girl, recovering. Was it worth doing that? For people that you clearly are irritated by, like, was it worth it? And now as I've gotten older and I've understood that even in dealing with my ex partner of 10 years, I had to really pick and choose my battles, because I understood if I exert this amount of energy with you, I'm going to be in the bed. And I actually have things I want to do. I have events I want to host. I have meditations I want to create. It is not worth getting into a knockdown, drag them out fight with you to prove a point that you're going to reluctantly accept because it's being forced on you. So there's no real change, no real healing, no real growth. And then I have to sit down and be exhausted for the next couple of days. Like, my body is designed to really make me choose where my energy is going. So hopefully you don't have to have that experience like I do, but I do have a sense of gratitude for it, because there is such a severe and immediate consequence. It keeps me very mindful and focused on where my energy is going. I also believe that's why it's a bit easier for me now to choose to be like, you know what, I'm gonna just let you have that. Not because I think that I can't make my point. I understand my power and my influence. I just don't want to have to force my way into something, force my energy on something, and feel depleted afterwards, when I could have been giving that energy and love to somebody that's willingly receiving it. Let me know if that makes sense, okay? Catching up. 11/2 is an important date for me. Oh my goodness. Yes, Lotus, you are so insightful and powerful energy, superpower. Thanks, Jack. Oh, wow. I'm not seeing, okay, I see like 11/2 is an important date for me, but I don't see the other comment, Debbie, but I'm sending you love. Your mom, okay. Thank you, Jack, for letting me know. This is beautiful. Daughter reminds me and gives me that joy. I can feel the love. I love that. Guys. Okay. You guys made me so emotional. Oh my goodness. Yes, internal boundaries, love that. It's necessary to have internal boundaries, y'all. Like, necessary. Please do your best to have internal boundaries. It'll make it so much more easier for you to have the external ones. Yeah. And I've gotten into heated arguments over Princess Tiana from The Princess and the Frog. It tends to be a very soft spot for me. I get very upset when people talk ill of her. I'm just like, whoa. It is an immediate response. And then later on, I'm just sitting here like, now why did you go and engage in that? Why? What was the purpose? Look at you now. This is a cartoon character that you're passionately defending. But like, there are certain things that just get you. And I'm just like, what? You said this about Tiana? Full on. And then I'm exhausted afterwards. And then I have like other things I need to get done that could benefit not only myself, but my community. We live and we learn. Okay? Yes, determine if it warrants a response instead of being reactive. Yes, Bethany. Likely their issue has nothing to do with you and wish them peace. Exactly. A lot of times too, when people are kind of like throwing things out at you or trying to test your boundaries, I like to reframe it as an opportunity for me to fortify my boundaries. You know? To make it less personal, make it feel less like a personal attack. I'm like, oh, they're just trying to break me down, or they're trying to push past, or universe source is giving you an opportunity to fortify. Here, I often say when you want peace, you're given chaos, because it's an opportunity for you to fortify, for you to practice. It's one thing to say it, it's another thing to walk your talk, right? So I can say all the time that my boundaries are amazing, It's not until my boundaries are being activated through a testing, right? Through an experience that I'm able to say, like, no, I actually do have really healthy and strong boundaries. Because in this moment, I could have wavered and I didn't. It also is an opportunity for you to see how much effort and dedication and discipline you have. That reframing can do so much for you. So thank you for sharing that, Bethany. Yes, body forcing attention to energy. It's a blessing inside the difficulty. It is, it is, it is. Maisha, hi. Oh, Maisha, the replay will be available for you. You already know. I have you. Hi, Dee. Hi, Jack. Yes, Bethany, I'm diligently working on it. Thank you so much. Yes, yes, yes. Golden wisdom. Thank you so much, Jack. Yes, yes. This is a cartoon character. You're passionate. Yes, and I guys, it's a weak spot for me. That is where I'm growing. Okay, I'm growing. I'm just very sensitive about her. I don't know if it's because I played Princess Tiana like when I was younger. It was part of the work that I did. I don't know what it is, but I'm very sensitive about that girl, and it is laughable in hindsight. But in the moment, I'm like, what? What was that? I'm growing. I'm healing. Okay. Yes, a lot of sense. Understand. Dealt with health issues similar to lupus. That caused exhaustion too. Need to be careful with that energy. Yes. If you're dealing with a chronic illness or an autoimmune disorder or illness, you have to, with such delicacy and intention, pick and choose what is worth fighting for. Because our energy shows up in our body, in this vessel, vastly different than other people. You have to decide, is this worth me draining myself for? And when you put it and you frame it in that type of question, it's almost always a no. It's not worth draining myself for this, right? Because when you're doing things that are feeding and nourishing your mind, feeding and nourishing your body and your spirit, you're never getting drained because it's feeding you. It's a mutual experience. As I give, I receive. The only time that we feel depleted or we feel taken from is when we've engaged in a dynamic that if we took the time to really sit and reflect and move a little slower, we would have from the jump known that it was going to deplete us anyway. It wasn't worth interacting with. It wasn't worth it. And I do feel like it's a time and a place, and as we grow, I think different seasons of your life warrant more fire, more, like that energy. Like when I was younger, when I was in my 20s and even in my teens, I was very like defensive, very quick-witted, very, what was that? Because I think too, as we're growing and we're experiencing that we have the ability to have a sense of defense, right? A quick-wittedness about us to be able to properly argue, right? There's a sense of power you feel from it. So it's great to exercise it, to experience it, to explore it, to practice with it. So I do feel like, teenage years, you have that extra boost of hormones and youth on your side, right? Even in your 20s, when you're really in survival mode, you'll find that you're engaging a lot in that. But as you reach your Saturn return towards the end of your 20s and enter into your 30s and beyond, you find that like, okay, I know myself enough, I've practiced enough, I've explored enough to know like when to choose my battles, when to sit up and fight. and when to understand that like source, ancestors, angels, other deities, entities can handle that for me, and I can refocus my energy on what actually matters. I do feel like, oh, it's 11:11 where I'm at. I love that. There's confirmation. I feel like there's an experience to be had. So, if you find that you're in like the later part, after your 20s, you're in your 30s or beyond, give yourself that opportunity to pick and choose your battles and see how it feels for you. See how it resonates. See how your energy flourishes by taking a nice deep breath, maybe bringing a smile to your face, even though you don't want to, because really and truly you rather like hit that person or curse them out. Just being like, I'm just going to let you have that. Because even though it makes absolutely no sense and you sound extremely like ignorant, and I have the capability to really teach you in this moment, to really force you to sit down in this moment, I am going to choose to let something bigger than me handle you. That level of ignorance, that level of hate, that level of animosity, am I capable of transmuting it? Sure. But do I have the capacity or the desire to? No, I don't. I'll let someone else. And when I say someone else, I'm not talking about another human being. I'm talking about God, source, ancestors. I'll let someone else walk you through that experience. Wishing you the best. Because I know for me, speaking personally, when it comes to me teaching a lesson and or my ancestors teaching a lesson, I'm probably the gentler version of it. So that also brings me peace too when I move forward and knowing like, okay, I don't have to interact because they're gonna handle it and they're gonna keep it where it needs to be. So if you don't want to keep it cute with me, that's totally fine. I'm wishing you the best because you're going to need that. And that also gives me a level of like centeredness and feeling safe as well, because I'm just like, yeah, that's gonna get handled. Let's see. Jack, I got surgery around 5 weeks ago and my work situation has evolved. So I need to re-earn trust with some of the leadership, and it's all about picking battles. Yeah, picking battles and making sure that the battles you pick serve you. Making sure that when you pick that battle, it's a battle that you can easily win. Like, this is where strategy comes into play too, right? I don't think we talk enough about strategy in wellness or in spirituality, but it exists. It's another tool, if you will, right? Another pathway to getting to what it is that you need to experience. Like, strategy is important. Can I win this battle? And that also, then when we peel back that layer, that comes down to if you have a certain level of confidence in your capabilities and in your skill set to feel like you can win that battle. There's a lot to unpack there, right? But ultimately, can I win this battle? Is this battle worth losing? Right? Like, if I lose this battle, is it really going to be detrimental to me? It might hurt my ego a little bit. I might be annoyed. It may let this other person think that they have some type of level of power over me. Is this worth it though? Do I really care if that person feels that way? Do they really have power over me if I lose this battle? Asking these questions and being reflective in that can really, again, help you pick and choose. Because you're going to have to fight some battles, but be a peaceful warrior, right? The peacefulness comes before the warrior. Peaceful first, but if necessary, be strategic in how you have to show up for a battle, how you have to show up to interact with someone that is in your frequency at the moment that maybe shouldn't be. Let me know if that makes sense, okay? Yes, yes. Thank you for saying those prayers, Debbie. For Jack, that's beautiful. It's Jack saying hi to Jack. I love this. Oh my goodness. Lotus, such important words and teaching. Thank you, Debbie. Bring a smile to your face even though you rather hit the person. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We often joke about crying when you're angry. People who are criers when they're angry, because people assume that like you're crying because like you feel weak or I don't know, I really don't understand it because I'm a crier when I'm angry, and it's me. I understand it now as a practitioner. I'm crying because it's cathartic, because it's a great way and an efficient way to transmute energy, because I also understand the amount of rage in my body, and my intention is not to harm others. I really am living by that understanding of not harming other people simply because I feel the need to, right? So when I'm crying and I'm angry, it's for your benefit. It's really for your safety. And it blows my mind. People don't think that. Like, oh, now you're crying. Like, it's a time for me to pounce. It's like, no, leave that person alone. If they cry when they're angry, leave them. They are doing their best. Leave them alone. Give them space. Do not think that you have the upper hand, because that person is very, 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 very close to losing their shit. And it's not going to be great for anyone involved. They're doing their best. So that's like a little PSA for anyone who thinks that it's appropriate to do that. I always have had an issue with bullies in the sense of picking on people who are smaller to them. Do you know what I mean? Or like picking on people that they think are weaker. There's something about that that just when I was younger, I was very much a bully to bullies. If we're being very transparent, if I saw that you were picking on kids, if you pick on people that were smaller than you, if you were like making someone feel uncomfortable, I was very much like, okay, now I'm going to show you how it feels, because this was not okay to do. Do not do this to this person again. This is how you're making them feel. This is how you want them to feel. This is horrible. Do you see how you feel? We don't want that. Right? And I was a very small person, but I was very much like, yeah, you're not going to, I don't have a tolerance for bullying in general. I mean, I've gotten better at expressing like how that, I was young. I was like a kid. So probably wasn't the best or healthiest way to do that. I don't advise children to do that. That is just what I did in the 90s, because it was what was most effective at the time. But yeah, like I don't have a tolerance for it. So even now when you see people kind of doing that power struggle of energy that they talk about in the Celestine Prophecy, right, Jack? Like just that need for power. I just don't have the I don't have the skill set. I'm just kind of like, what are we doing here? Are you trying to bully somebody right now? Is that what we're doing? At our big ages, we're bullying people. This is the example we're setting for society. Do you have no children in your life? Do you not want to be an example? Like, what do we do? What is this? Stop, please. I'm always just so baffled. So it was a bit of a rant, but yeah, please. There are healthier ways to express ourselves. As I guess a former bully. Yes, Answer's gonna handle it. Yeah, they are. They are. They always do. Strategic Spirituality is a good book title, Jack. You literally are always helping me come up with really good titles. That is actually a really good title. I think I'll have to write that down just in case. Okay? And I'm going to put Jack's name next to it so I can give proper credit. There we go. Was there a book, Art of War? Yes, there's two books, and clarify it for me because I've read both of them, but it was a very long time ago. There's the Art of War and then the War of Art. One of them is literally about like strategy planning, and the other one is about like creativity, but I don't know which one is which. I literally have read both of them, but I don't know which one is which. Maybe the War of Art is the one on creativity? I don't know. But yes, there are books with that title for sure. It's not going to win. If not going to retreat. Yeah, retreat. If you know you're not going to win a battle, please don't be brazen. It's not necessary in those moments to be brazen. Use your brazenness for like exploring a new hobby or finding a new part of yourself, right? But in those moments where you feel like, I'm not going to win this war or win this battle, give yourself the time to retreat. It's not being a coward. It's not cowardice to retreat. It's strategic because now you get to build yourself up, maybe learn new skills, have more resources, get more support. So if you have to reface that battle again, you know this time you can win it, right? These things are important for us to do. It's not like a Wild West cowboy movie, like where we're just running through towns and causing chaos. Like you do need to have a level of tact as you live life to get points across, to properly utilize your level of influence. Very important things. Here we go. Debbie and Jack realizing that they were walking around fine while I'm bedridden with misusing my energy was an eye-opening moment for me. Not worth it. That used to sit Bethany. When I say used to send me, when I would get into an argument with someone, probably usually with my ex at the time, because we would argue a lot. It was very much a power struggle. You know, he's struggling with the fact of like dating a very dominant person. It was a whole thing. But when we would have arguments and I made my point, and then like I'd be in bed and he's just like, all right, I'm going out for a run and I'm doing these things. I'm gonna hang out. I'm just like, what? I would be enraged. Then I'm calling my sister. I'm crying on the phone with my sister, telling her how angry I am. And then I'm in a loop. It's so easy to slip and slide into a loop like that too. Now I'm in this loop. Now I'm angry again. Now we're back in this space. I have to really remind myself, like, girl, when you choose to argue with somebody, to force an opinion on them that they're not ready to receive, the consequence of that action is you being sat down by spirit. It's that simple. Because this wasn't the time or the place, and you know you don't have to force your will on anyone. That should really upset you, that you have to feel the need to dominate or force yourself on somebody. Like, energetically speaking, or like that's just gross all the way around. This is a consequence of that action. So next time, read the room and see, is this what we need to be talking about right now? Is this person receptive? Do they even care? These are things to ask first before you engage in having any type of intense dialogue. So that if you need to argue, it's a healthy argument. Because there is a way to argue, right? You know, for those of us that went to debate class and debate club, there's a way to argue a point. So when by the end of the conversation, points are made and heard, and that there's still a level of respect and care for each other when the conversation is done. But if it's not like that when it's done, that was a waste of your energy and time. Yes, I'm the same. I cry because I'm upset. I got that way. Yeah, you're right. I'm the same way. Like I'm angry. You know, like, and if I cry and I start laughing while I'm crying, leave me alone. Like, go somewhere far away from me. Like, go, because I need to call my therapist. I need a moment. I have very rare times where that happens. You know, when I was younger, it was almost like an everyday thing. But, you know, being centered, doing practice really does help. But when I get to that space, if you see someone laughing and crying simultaneously, and it's not tears of joy, those are tears of rage. Deep onset rage that you've triggered and probably has nothing to do with you. And whatever you receive from that person is going to be compounded energy from other people, places, and things that they have been bottling up. And you happen to be the person there at the wrong place at the wrong time. This is when our sense of discernment needs to kick in as well. Like, you know what? I may have touched a nerve. I need to also know when to retreat and not to double down because I'm feeling powerful. Do you see what I mean? Like, we have to really be, it's a delicate dance. Yes, so true, Beth, not worth it. Eye-opening for me too. Yes. I think I cry when I'm angry because I'm not only upset, but shocked by the audacity of their words and behavior. Same. Whoa, that was so beautifully said. Mixed with the lack of respect that let them think that was okay. Bethany, I agree. And you know, when you get older, and you guys let me know, because I know for myself, a random person cannot upset me. Like a random stranger on the street say something crazy to me, I'm just kind of like, wow, that was so wild of you. Oh no. Like I don't know you enough to care. I'm not invested in your experience here on earth to care enough about you. Like it was just weird. It's just like, what? Okay, sure, right? But it's usually when you get into an argument with someone, it's either something you're very passionate about, right? Like my Princess Tiana situation, or it's what Bethany's talking about, because it's someone you care for. It's someone that you've had like a intimacy with, and you're like, what? This is, I love you, or I care about you, I respect you. Why would you even put us in a situation like this? You know, that is a real feeling that comes up of I don't understand how we got here. How do we get to this moment where we're bordering the line of not respecting and caring for each other? Yeah, that would make me enraged and angry, because there's real shock there of like, what? I would have never expected that from you. But I also want to offer to that experience, remembering that we don't know what type of traumas people are carrying with them. We have no idea how these triggers are going to affect other people. You know, I've had people respond to certain type of triggers with me where I'm just like, I'm so confused right now, because you also know me enough to know that I would never behave or act the way that you're saying that I'm doing. It feels like you're projecting, right? Only for them to finally cool down, get centered, and be honest and say, look, you triggered something that I've been carrying for X amount of years, or this one experience from when I was a kid, and it came up, and it was a lot. And in certain context of wellness, they say that if you trigger someone and you have those type of dynamics, it's because you are a safe space for them, and like they were able to have that experience with you. And I want to say, yes, I can comprehend that intellectually, but I do feel like if we lean solely on that understanding, it can cause a lot of people to be in harmful situations, you know, because they feel like they need to now because they've triggered someone, so they have to wait it out. Like, also, please prioritize your well-being and your safety, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So if someone is not able to express themselves by being triggered in a way that feels safe to you, like, you're allowed to leave. You don't have to walk them through that experience. That's what professionals are for. That's what a certified practitioner or a licensed therapist can help them get through. You don't have to do that. Even if you are a licensed therapist or a practitioner and this is an intimate relationship, you don't have to engage in that either. You can step back. Maybe offer them resource of like, you need to maybe speak to someone about this, but I'm unable to hold you in this space. And leave it at that and go take care of yourself. This is how we reprioritize our energy, and we amplify our energy in doing that too. Those moments where we sit there and choose ourselves instead of engaging in that harm, really strengthen our energy and our connection to it, allowing us to use it where it needs to go, which is for our own livelihood, for our ability to thrive and to create and to imagine and to dream and to care for our communities. Okay? Lotus, bully the bullies, the energy appropriately aimed and needed. Yeah, yeah. I have grown. There's growth now. But when I was younger, yeah, I was like, what? What are you saying to people? Yeah. I was very much the person you came to if you had a problem. Some families encourage that, unfortunately. They really do. And it's so unfortunate. I realize more and more how grateful I am for the type of relationships I have with my siblings, like with my sisters, because I see other relationships with siblings and I'm like, this is wild. You know, like when I'm in a time of need, I'm going to one of my sisters. I'm going to cry. I'm doing what, like, they have me always. And we don't argue. I don't even remember last time I got to argue with my sister. And it's not because we are like super nice to each other either. It's because we have like a deep level of respect and care for one another. And that supersedes everything. So even if there's something that my sister's doing that I may not like, I first check in with myself, check in with my ego, check in with my expectations of her. And then after doing that check-in, if it's still necessary to have the conversation, usually it's not. Usually it's something that I'm projecting. But when we get to that space, I can talk to her and she understands that I've done that self-check. And if I'm talking to her about something, it's really because it's something that needs to be spoken about. We have this level of care for each other like that. And I really do wish that more people would instill that for like their siblings, because it's like having a built-in best friend. But if that's not nurtured correctly, it can be really such a harmful and dangerous experience for everyone involved. Laughing. Yeah, I really don't. Yeah, I'm so confused. Yes, Art of War, War of Art. Thank you, Jack. Thank you. Yes, Sun Tzu, Art of War, Strategy. Thank you. War of Art, and Creativity. Thank you, guys. This is what we call community, okay? Thank you. Yes, Stephen Pressfield. I do remember his name. Yes. Creativity and Resistance. Yes, yes, yes. I read the books, I swear. I read them. The titles confuse me. Yes. Ooh, Old Book of Art of War by Sun Tzu. Okay. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Jack. You wrote it. You're right. Wealth of Knowledge. Very, very good book. Hi, Kazia. How are you? How are you feeling? Here we go. Bethany, people yelling instead of having a conversation usually aren't receptive. Yes. To listening or to open, or open to considering other viewpoints. Yeah. If I have to raise my voice at you, I'm usually tapping out. When I enter into romantic dynamics, when I'm teaching children, we have that conversation. Like one of the first things that we do is talk about that. Like how do we communicate when we're being very passionate? And for me, if you raise your voice at me, it's the end of the conversation because I can hear you. I can hear you. If I have to raise my voice at you, I'm gonna tap out. I don't yell at children. I've never, in the course of my 15 years of teaching, I've never had to raise my voice at a child. It's unnecessary. There are better ways to communicate. I do understand that for a lot of parents and guardians, y'all are exhausted. So it's a different thing. So please don't take that as judgment because it's not. I'm talking about as a professional, like as a teacher. I don't think teachers should be yelling at kids at all. I don't even understand that concept. Like we're trained to not do that. But yeah, but we have a conversation. You know, if a child's like really upset or crying or yelling, the thing is to de-escalate the emotion so that we can actually talk. I let them know, like, I want to be able to hear you and help you and support you. And I say it exactly in that tone. But I'm unable to hear you because you are so upset. You're allowed to be upset. But if you don't want to remain upset, I need you to start taking some deep breaths. Let's start cooling down our body and centering ourselves because I want to help you. I can't help you right now. I don't know what it is that you need from me. Can you take a deep breath with me? Can we recenter? And then usually after a few breaths, they might still be crying, but they're able to talk to me. And I'm like, okay, this is how you need help. Okay, now I can help you. This is what was said to you. Okay, let's talk about how that made you feel. I do the same thing with adults. I'll let you know, like, oh, your voice seems like you're getting a little loud. I can hear you perfectly fine. Your tone is changing and shifting. I'm so receptive. You don't have to change your tone. I hear you. I can also say you're really passionate about this. Do we need space for a moment to collect ourselves, or are you good to continue having the conversation? I can't converse if you're yelling. Okay, sounds like you are still in that level of passion, and that's totally fine. I'm going to take a moment, though. I don't have the capacity or the capability to understand you if you're yelling at me, and I don't want to get triggered. All right, I want to step back, and I'm going to go. And it is not easy, because in my head, I'm like, who are you yelling at? You have me messed up. I'm from New York City. I was raised by a Leo. Do not, like, that is what's going on in my head. It is the practice of practicing talking it through that gets me to that space. My initial response is to show force, is to fight, is to say, what? I'm so confused by what you're saying to me. Who are you talking to? And depending on how often we've had this type of dynamic, that might come out where I'm like, whoa, who are you speaking to? It sounds like you're talking to me, but you can't possibly talk to me in that tone. That wouldn't make any sense, right? Like, those things do come out too. Like, there's levels to it. You know what I mean? Depending on who you are, how long we've been in a dynamic, that can change. But ultimately, it's like, okay, I do actually want to hear your point of view. Or I realize that I don't want to hear your point of view. I actually don't want to hear what you have to say about this. For whatever reason. Maybe I'm triggered. Maybe I don't feel safe. Maybe I don't really care enough. And you can also say that and allow yourself to leave. Granted, that person may feel like you've abandoned them or that you don't care. That's a conversation to have once people are calmer. And if there's someone that you're in a relationship with, someone that you really care about, and there's a deep sense of love there, you'll get to a space where you're able to have that conversation. Okay? Yes. Don't have to walk someone through the triggers. Yes, the person's triggers can trigger us. Yeah, if you don't have the skill set to walk through somebody's triggers with them, don't do it. Don't do that to yourself. Like, I had to work on that in therapy. Like with scenarios with my therapist pretending to be that person, and us having scenarios before I was able to then practice with said person. I never just went into it trying to practice with them with a skill set I haven't refined. That's unfair to me, and it's unfair to them. They're already carrying their own shit and having to go through things. I don't need to add on to that. So I would go to a safe space with a practitioner, with my therapist, sit, have a conversation, vent if I need to, get it out of me first. And then, how do I get this point across? Is this necessary for me to get across? Should I be listening to them? Having someone who is trained to do that with you is where many of us just skip over that part. And there's different ways, whether you're able to afford therapy or you have to go and find like a certified or licensed therapist on YouTube or on a podcast about conflict. There's different ways to do that. I wish that many of us start studying conflict a bit more because it helps us to understand where our energy is going as well. Okay. Normally true, but random person was judging my dancing. Think they were projecting. Probably. When people judge other people's dancing, they're projecting because they usually feel like they themselves can't dance. Dance is a way for me to release. Yes, I agree. Mostly people say how much it means to them. They saw the music differently. Something brought to tears. This woman ripped into me. For me, it's like, what? Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm always amazed at how people think it is appropriate to say mean and hurtful things to other people. I'm just like, girl, what? You just could not keep that to yourself? You couldn't ask yourself, why am I so bothered by how someone is dancing with their own bodies? I digress. First and foremost, I feel for you that you even had to have an experience like that, because that can be very traumatizing. But remembering why you dance, that you're dancing for that release because it's healing for you, is really important to keep at the center of your experience. And if someone else is projecting and saying mean things because you make them feel uncomfortable, my initial response is to be like, what? Why are you talking to me about this? You know what I'm saying? Like, why did you come over here to tell me about your feelings? I didn't ask you. This is unwarranted. This was not an invitation for you to tell me how you feel about me. I didn't ask you, you know? But hopefully we can get to a place where that's more funny than anything. Of like, wow, you thought, like, randomly it came to your mind to like come and harass me about my dancing. It's literally only going to make me dance more. Because now I have to release more energy because you came here with this bullshit. Like, I have to dance now. So now he's going to be more upset. Like, what have we accomplished in this conversation now that you've projected all of this on? Do you feel better? Do you feel like, I'm always so curious. I'm always so curious. I hate that you had that experience. And I'm going to send that person some good vibrations, because to walk around life to the point where people who dance irritate you so much you feel the need to like revolt against that is just, it really screams you must be in a lot of pain. You must be very disconnected from your body. And you don't realize that that trigger you're feeling, that discomfort, is your body saying, hey, why don't we do this? Why don't you take care of me like this? Why can't you see this person dancing and be inspired to take care of yourself? You're missing the plot. And I hate that for you. You know? So terrible. And it's so strange. Like, what? Bethany, I'm getting better at pausing to respond instead of reacting defensively. I love that for you. But not as easy when loved ones are the target. Yeah, I agree. That fierce mama bear comes out, and yes, diplomacy is doable but difficult. That is a bar. I'm not an aggressive person. I like to meditate, but I get pushed close to that line. I work in progress. We're all works in progress, Bethany, and it sounds like you're doing your absolute best. Okay? Sometimes that fierceness is necessary. I don't want us to negate fierceness or make it seem like it's like a last resort. Fierceness is a part of life. We are meant to be fierce, especially if you are a guardian or a protector of a person or a community. That fierceness keeps you and your people safe, right? There are times where, as my niece is getting older and jumping from 8 years old to like now she's like 16 mentally, where we're just like, girl, who are you talking? Like, what did you just say? Like, why did you say that to us? Like, what's going on? There's a fierceness that comes out where I have to remind her, like, hey, I love you deeply, and I would hate for us to have an experience like this, but if we need to, then we can have that experience. But lower your voice when you talk to your mother, because she's right here. It's unnecessary. There's a tone in your voice that is hard for me to appreciate right now. How can we shift that? It feels like you're not respecting me in this moment, but that can't possibly be true, because you do love and respect me, unless that's changed. Like, there's a fierceness there, right? Of like, as my mom would say in her time, watch her mouth. Right? Like, but also understand, like, with growth and development of like, okay, cool. You are also testing boundaries. And that happens a lot with our loved ones because there's passion there. There's love there. And when love kind of doesn't have a proper container or structure to be streamlined, anything goes. They can get real crazy real fast. So having that fierceness is important. I don't want us to quell the fierceness. I just want us to know when we need to use it. So sometimes, yeah, you're going to need to be a bit more fierce and not as gentle. But I always try to remind myself too, when I have to have a fiercer moment with someone I love, that when we both get a little calmer, that I circle back around and end it with some type of gentleness, some type of care, some type of reflection. Sometimes it's me apologizing, like, I did raise my voice. I did have a really unnecessary tone, and I do want to apologize for that because that wasn't my intention. I did feel like I had to have that in order for you to understand what I was saying. I'm going to do better in working on that, because I don't want that to be how we always communicate and get things across. And I really do love you so much. And if I made you uncomfortable, I really am. I apologize for that. I do that a lot. A lot. Because it's necessary. When I'm talking to my mom, my niece, not necessarily my girlfriends, because we are able to communicate healthily, but like in those intimate relationships where there's a lot of love there, yeah. My sister apologized to my niece too. When she gets really frustrated and she raises her voice, she'll go back and be like, I didn't want to, first and foremost, I hate that I yelled. That's not like me. I don't want you to begin thinking that that's how I'm going to communicate. It's always so beautiful because it allows my niece to feel seen, even though if she had to have that experience. It happens within those 24 hours too. It is times, it's not days later. It's within that time frame where I sit down and have a heart-to-heart with her, because I never want her to go to bed thinking that I do not care, or that she did something wrong, or that she disappointed me. Like, that's also a part of properly using our energy as well, is transmuting it. You can still transmute energy from a conversation earlier by having another one, but it being led from the heart. Let me know if that makes sense. And thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Lotus, your ashes now have the x-ray look. It's your spiritual authority. Yeah, Jack, thanks so much for your donation. Yes, yeah, like there's a fierceness that needs to be had. I quite often say, people are very surprised by like the darkness of my eyes. I'm like, yeah, when I'm angry, my eyes are black. You can really tell. But when I'm really excited and playful, my eyes are like a lighter brown. Like, there's like warmth there. But like, yeah, my eyes are a bit of a superpower. You could tell if I'm upset. You'll see it in my eyes first before I say anything. Almost as if it's a warning. Maybe that's how my body is designed to communicate. But yes, yeah. Because I'm trying my best to be centered, Here we go. Oh, and Jack, thank you for reminding me. This is a donation-based experience. So if you're able to donate, please do. It allows me to pay bills, to continue my education and learning and getting certified so I can continue to integrate different healing modalities and practices to help us all in the collective. So if you're able to donate financially, please do. If anything resonates with you and you're like, wow, this really helped me a lot, and you're able to donate financially, please do. You can do so on the platform of Insight Timer or in my emails. I always have alternative ways for you to donate. You can use any one of those. People have reached out to me personally if none of those work and they want to still donate somewhere else. I'm super flexible in that, obviously, because I understand the importance of an exchange and I want to make sure you're able to have that exchange. So if you're able to, thank you. And if you're unable to, you can review a track. You can subscribe to the Substack. It's absolutely free to subscribe, or you can become a paid member that way. That's a great way of donating as well. There are different avenues. I just want to put that out there. I'm supposed to do it 3 times, but I usually get around to it once. And I feel like that's what's important. Okay? Okay. Thank you, Jack. Don't know why I let it hurt me. Because you were being vulnerable and soft in that moment. And this random person came out of nowhere and just like stepped into that space without an invitation. That makes so much sense to me why it hurt you. Like it was also so off guard, Friends that are a musician asked us to come and dance, that people pay more attention to them because they see the music visual. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. So to make fun, they know we are really listening to them live. Yes, it was therapy for me. Dancing since 2. I'm so happy that you continue to dance. That'd be like, please. The other person, that's why I'm just like, girl, go on about your business, because go on about your business, because this makes no sense for you to be this upset about me. Debbie, I think people are judging others because they look at life differently, and instead of being curious, they don't see their own limitations. I agree. I find that whenever I am judged, it's often because people are unable to do what it is that I'm doing, and it makes them witness how limited they are in their experience, and they think that I am the one limiting them, but I am not the one limiting them. They're limiting themselves, and that is something really healthy for us to carry and to know when you are engaged with people like that. But no one should be policing your body, ever. Like, oh my gosh. It's 2024. So much love back to you, Jack, for your understanding. Yes, Neil. Hi, Neil. I triggered on someone who was playing games with all. It was so sudden. Yes, and if you have moments where you find yourself being triggered and you're able to go back and have a heart-to-heart, take the opportunity to have the heart-to-heart. If you're unable to, I would suggest using some type of healing modality to continue transmuting that energy, because that's going to allow you to get better at handling a trigger, because it's going to happen again. That's one thing about triggers. Until you handle it the way that it needs to be handled so it can be transmuted, it's going to keep coming up. It's an opportunity for you to get better and better at it, because when we learn in life, we learn cyclically, right? We learn like this. We don't learn going straight. It's not A to B. It's like this. You hit a point, you learn some experiences on how to get better at it, and you hit that point again, and you get an opportunity to use that new experience to then navigate that point without being triggered. But a lot of us will get triggered, pretend it didn't happen, or have like a burst of venting and leave it alone and not do any real studying behind why we were triggered. And then we get back to that point again and we're triggered again. We do the exact same thing. We end up in a loop. But the goal is to spiral upwards. Okay? Or the intention is to spiral upwards. Thank you for sharing that, Neil. Yes, guardian of communities. Fierce, yes. Love having container, yes. My fierce determination and willingness to settle has literally kept me alive several times. I know that's right, Bethany. Debbie, especially since 30 minutes before she was saying kind things, and I danced with her to show her that she could dance too. She was happy and then went sideways. Some people don't have the capacity to handle that type of joy. It's unfortunate. As someone who was born with a very low baseline for joy, I had to really diligently put in effort to raise my baseline to experience joy and pleasure. It was really hard for me. Yeah, like I had people who tend to have like a high threshold for pain usually have a low threshold for pleasure. So if someone can really endure pain, whether it be emotional, mental, or physical pain, they probably have a very hard time experiencing some type of joy or pleasure because it's lopsided in their energy. They have to raise one baseline and lower the other, you know? Like right now, there was a time in my life where my threshold for pain was so incredibly high. Even when I was taking medication for my autoimmune disorders and diagnoses, um, the medication was so high, even for a person my size in my youth, because of how much pain I was enduring. Like they had to make they had to make it so high for me to even feel anything, for me to even feel relief. That is how used to pain I was. Like my body was still, it's so insane. Now I can barely use like half of an Advil if I need to take it without feeling a little loopy. I'm just like, ooh, this is a lot because I'm more in my body, right? My threshold for pleasure and joy has risen, you know? So that also means that my threshold for pain has gotten a lot lower. Sometimes I think it's a little too low, but you know, it's like, girl, we've lived enough time where it was the opposite. We'll ride it out. It'll level itself out as you get older and have more experiences. But yeah, that is definitely a thing. Um, yeah. Debbie sounds like something surfaced in her and she projected. Keep dancing, Debbie. Exactly, Bethany. Keep dancing. I love this container. We love you, Debbie. Yes. Thank you, Bethany. Love to dance. Bethany judging instead of curious. Perfectly said. Yeah. It is. I did already. And you did your work, Neil. I'm really excited for you. This is the third time all playing games. And then also too, if someone is continuously pushing buttons, they could also be doing that because they get a response from you and they get that surge of energy that feeds them. Keep that in mind. If that person, if it's the same person that does it again, not that it's the same trigger, it's the same person triggering you, they could just be wanting to engage with you for energy. Um, and maybe coming from that perspective, if it happens again, you can witness it that way and be like, oh, you just want energy from me. And either give them energy in a different way or be like, no, this is not how you get energy from me. I'm not interacting with you like this because I don't want to be triggered again, you know? Um, there we go. Debbie, I wonder if you had insights later on how you felt. Oh God, is that true? Yes, Lotus, low baseline for joy makes what you did 2 weeks ago today even more beautiful. Thank you so much. Wow, that makes so much sense. I never thought about that perspective until you said it. Yeah. Like I had to really be like, girl, there was a time where I did not like pleasure or joy. Maybe we'll talk about that at a different a different live because I want to get into the EFT. But yeah, there was a time I did not. I was just like, what? Being like genuinely happy, like surface level happy, sure, but like genuinely happy, like experiencing pleasure. What? It made me cringe. I was like, ugh, that's the like. It felt so foreign to me, and I had to explore like why was that, and it was because my threshold for pain was through the roof. Like I was always in a painful experience, whether it was mental anguish, physical anguish, or my spirit was in turmoil. Like I was always going through it. I had no space or capacity or the capability to even comprehend pleasure being a good thing for me, joy being a healing aspect for me, because I was taught to fight and to be in a state of war. That is how you know you're alive, because you feel the pain in your body. That is what I was taught. Like, it was just what I experienced growing up. So being able to understand that my body can do that for pleasure, and that is also very healing, and that it's also just easier to sustain. Yeah, that took me time. It took me time to understand that. To understand that my baseline was non-existent. Like, yeah, I had to really work on that. That was not an easy thing at all. Yes, used to pain. I hear you. Yeah, like used to pain. Oh my goodness. Like we're so happy for growth, you know? Never heard it said like that. Yes. Didn't like pleasure or joy. Absolutely the same for decades. I was like that. Yeah, because we're taught to feel satisfaction in the struggle, right? Even when people compete to say who has the worst day ever, like it's because you're used to pain. Like these are things that we're like really taught. It really reminds me of George Orwell's 1984. Like it's like integrated in you. Like you're supposed to feel anguish and pain, Or if someone, like when we have that guilt around feeling lucky, we talked about this in the Lotus Hour on Monday, feeling lucky or having things go your way, people think you don't deserve it or that you didn't earn it, or they try to belittle you or make you seem like you're unworthy simply because something was effortless for you. It's because their threshold for pain is through the freaking roof, and they don't understand how you were able to navigate through life and have these good ass experiences, and they're suffering. It does not make sense when someone is in pain and they see people gliding through life. That is infuriating. Because how are you doing that? And I am suffering. I am struggling. And you're dancing through life? What? That is so triggering, right? But I also feel like it's important for us to continue to live in that joy, to continue to share that light, and to share that happiness, that bliss, even if it does trigger other people, because hopefully it will inspire them to ask themselves, why does this person's joy bother me so much? This person is choosing to use their energy in a way that is satisfying to them, that is uplifting to them in their spirit, and it is upsetting me. It is upsetting me and my inner homegirls. Why is that? Why is this person's joy so enraging? And hopefully they'll get to sit and explore that and have the resources that they need to sort that shit out. Because that is not how we're not designed to live that way. If we were, we'd be more accepting. The fact that we aren't, the fact that we're projecting literally screams that it does not belong on us. We're trying to get it off of us. We're putting it on anyone else that will take it. We don't want it. That's how you know you're not living in alignment. Projecting is a clear sign that you do not want it and that your body is begging you to wake up. I really hope that more people have that understanding. Supposed to feel, don't earn, shouldn't be lucky. Yes, yes. Taught that as a child too. Same, Debbie. Dance is my joy spot. Even as a child was my escape. Could show emotions that way. That was me with singing. I would sing all the time to get emotions out. Yeah. Yes, Debbie, beautiful. It's your higher self. I agree, Jack. Yes, whoa, that hits hard, but makes sense. Very high pain threshold. And we wear that as a badge of honor too, right? Like, oh, that was nothing. I eat pain. It's like, girl, what? Why would you want that? Like, no, babes, no. Barely avoided several illnesses twice, from appendix bursting and then kidney failing, but was asymptomatic. Only knew I was ill from routine blood work. My autoimmune disorders hid important pain signals, yet I'm in moderate to severe chronic pain every single day. Yeah. Yeah. And it's also a very jarring experience when you no longer feel that amount of pain anymore. It feels weird. It feels like you're not in your body, but the truth is that you're actually in your body. It's a very jarring experience. I can remember the first day when I didn't feel pain all the time to a certain degree where it was debilitating. I was just like, whoa. My body felt fuzzy. And I was just like, what? And I was like, oh. And I couldn't pinpoint it. It took me going to, I think, my herbalist and talking about it. And he's just like, dude, you're just not feeling as much pain as before. That's what the body's supposed to feel like. Your body's not supposed to feel tense all the time. And I was like, what? And he was like, yes. He was always very frustrated with me, by the way, guys. Like, Mr. Jing, rest in peace. That man was infuriated by me because I was constantly there. Like, something's wrong. He's like, nothing is wrong. You're healing. Yes, Lotus Bethany, I'm wondering if the autoimmune is related to what we're discussing. Probably. Probably, Jack. I wouldn't be surprised. Jarring, unnerving, and scary as hell. Yeah, when you first start to feel good, you're like, what is going on? What is happening? Yes, the chronic is triggering. Yes, I agree. Oh my goodness, it was such a good conversation. I hope that this was really helpful for you guys and understanding how to utilize energy properly. I know we didn't get into like the specific details, but I feel like we understand. And what I'll do is I'll put like a formal blog together and just drop it when I release the video. So that way, if people want to get some of the class notes I wrote down for extra insight, you can. Just make sure to subscribe to Substack, okay? So you guys can have access to all of that stuff. Okay, perfect. I love you too, Jack. I want to do the EFT before we go because that is the purpose of today. And then we're going to close out, okay? So we're going to do EFT to help us release distractions, things that are keeping us from really utilizing our energy the way that we want to, and then redirect our energy towards the things that we do want to keep our energy towards. So what I want from you in this moment is to get comfortable. I'm gonna do the same thing so you guys can see me. And take a nice deep inhale, exhale. See how the body feels, right? I'm gonna explain quickly. I'm gonna explain quickly what EFT means and how we'll tap. And in the meantime, if you already know what the vibes are, go ahead and take a sip of water. I have my big water jug here. I'm gonna take a sip with you. Oh man, so much lime. So much lime, so much lime. Okay, so EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. There are different type of ways that we can tap into these acupressure points on the body to help us connect our energy, transmute trauma, and allow ourselves to be more in the body, embodied, okay? So the 9 tapping points that we're going to use today are the side of hand between the pinky knuckle bone and the wrist bone. Is that where my tattoo is, that fleshy part? You can lightly tap here. Then we have the top of the head where the crown chakra would be. Then we have the start of the brow on either side. Then we have the side of the eye. And you're going to tap on the ocular bone. You'll feel the bone here, not the temple, the bone. You'll trace that bone all the way down to underneath the eye. You'll tap on the bone there. Then underneath the nose, above the lip. In the crease of our chin. You'd feel for your collarbone. And you can do this easily by clicking your thumbs together. And then wherever your fingertips lie, place your thumbs centered in the middle of your throat. You'll feel a bone here, your sternum. That's where your heart tapping point is, but we're not using that one today. And you'll tap here. These are your collarbone tapping points, either side. And then you trace underneath the arm to the end of the armpit, and you would tap here. So those are the 9 points that we'll use. You don't need to remember them at all. I'm going to guide you through it, okay? And for those that are super sensitive people, if you feel like you are highly sensitive, you're really tuned in, or maybe you're an empath, I want to show you some alternative ways of tapping so you don't get overwhelmed in the tapping process. And you can use these anytime you need to, okay? So you're going to either lightly tap with your fingers. You can pulse, keeping the hand to the body. You can rub, which is very soothing. Or you can hover. You don't have to touch the body at all, and you're still tapping into those energetic pathways. The energy meridians run through the body and around the body. They're what helps stabilize our aura, right? So you can just lightly tap like this. You can hover, and you'll be able to still feel the same effort and energy if you were touching the body, okay? So those are what we're going to do. I want us to do a tuning scale too today. So tuning from -10 to +10. -10 being the worst you've ever felt, 0 being I don't feel bad, I don't feel good, and then +10 being the best you've ever felt. Whatever number comes up intuitively for you, I want you to drop it in the chat, or drop it in the comments, okay? Take another sip of water, and then we're going to start with our negative round. Our negative round is where we're going to say statements that we've either said to ourselves or we've overheard or someone said to us that doesn't really make us feel too good. But as we're saying it and tapping on the points, we're bringing it up to the forefront of the body, saying, hey, I don't want to live into the body anymore, or I want to transmute this energy because it's no longer serving me. I want to learn to accept it so I can move forward and no longer be trapped by it, okay? So that's what we're going to do. So take a sip of water. -10 being the worst you've ever felt. 0 being I don't feel bad, I don't feel good. +10 being the best you've ever felt. And drop that number in the chat, okay? Oh my gosh. It's literally so sour, y'all. Woo! Do not like that. Okay. Yes. Bethany said, didn't send this earlier. Okay. People are like, oh, you're so lucky. What? No one likes pain, but it's necessary. I'd rather have normal pain signals than these misfirings, overactive ones I have. It's hard to love and appreciate a body you can't trust. I understand that. It's like any other relationship, can't have trust without communication. This is really, really, really insightful and beautiful. And for someone who has also experienced chronic illness, who tends to still have run-ins with it every now and then, yeah, you can feel like you don't trust your body, right? And I do feel like part of the healing on an energetic and spiritual level is learning to trust your body, because your body is still keeping you alive. That was one of the most healing experiences for me on my journey. This is for me. I'm speaking from my personal experience, okay? When I finally looked at my body, and it was when I was having a really bad flare. Everything was, my knees were swollen, my hands wouldn't close. Oh, it was so terrible. My face was really gray. I had lost the color in my skin. I think I had just like lost one of my teeth at the time too. It was like such a experience. And I was looking at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I was angry. I was like, I hate this body. This body is so terrible. Like, look at what you're doing. Like, you're harming me. Why would you do that? And I started to learn about energy healing at the time, specifically the You Can Heal Your Life book by Louise Hay with the encyclopedia about what the body's communicating to you when it's in pain. And I started to read through them and I looked at my body and I completely cried, burst into tears because my body was keeping me alive. Despite the fact that I wasn't feeding it properly, I wasn't exercising, I wasn't getting enough sleep, I wasn't giving it the nutrients or vitamins it needed. I was working my body like a freaking machine, and it was still choosing to fight for me to exist on this earth. And I started to notice that those flares were not attacking me how we're kind of taught autoimmune diseases, your body attacking itself. It was fighting for me to exist. It was keeping me tethered to this earth. There's nothing else that keeps us tethered to this earth but our physical body. Literally nothing else. Our spirit does not keep us tethered to this earth. That's why when we go to sleep, our spirit travels, does all these things, and has dreams. It's not tethered here. The only thing that keeps us here is this body. And when I let myself understand that, and I had that shift of deep appreciation for my body, the relationship between my body and myself, my body and trust, me and trust, my experience with the diagnoses, all of that shifted. It shifted for me in such an incredible way. Now when I get flares, I'm talking to my body like, girl, we can do this. I got you. What do you need? Do I need to rest? Did you need more food? Was that person annoying us? That person was stressful, right? We need to not do that no more. It changed the dialogue with my body because my body is doing everything it can to keep me alive so I can see my loved ones, so that I can live out my passions. And this is how it has to do it because it's how it's designed. We all have different ways. But if you're struggling with a chronic illness or a disorder, I just want to share that insight because it changed my life. It allowed me to trust my body more because it just could have given up on me and I just could not be here. But instead it chose to fight. It chose to scream. It chose to communicate. With every ache and pain, I am doing my best to keep you alive, girl. Sit down. Leave that person alone. Leave that freaking job. It's killing you. I have a deep respect for my body now. I didn't have that always. I didn't have it. But I do now, and I really do believe that it correlates to why I'm able to have softer experiences with the illnesses that I'm diagnosed with. You know, it doesn't make it a picture perfect experience, but there's just something about it that just feels like, okay, we're gonna get through it. We are a team. The same way I love my spirit so much and it's so amazing, I rock with my body. I honestly, given the life that I've lived, I should not physically be here. If we're being completely honest. The fact that I exist is because of this body and my ancestors, but they did their big one with this body. So as it grows, whatever else we go through together, I'm really proud of it. And I really hope that in me sharing that story, that maybe it'll create an avenue or an opening for you to maybe build that relationship with yourself if you don't have it already. And that goes for anybody dealing with a chronic illness, you know? Yeah. I hope it helps. Okay. Lotus, what does that drink? Battery acid? Honestly, Jack, it really might be. It's a whole bunch of lemons and limes, but it's horrible. Yes, thank you, Jack. Best compliment was a stranger that he saw the state of the flow and he was trying to describe to others. He feels working on and no one can see. He had an open heart surgeon. He was an open heart surgeon that feels during the surgeries. Oh, wow. Told me never to lose that. Only thing he said to me other than it was genuine. This is beautiful, Debbie. Wow. Yeah, that's such a beautiful story. Oh my gosh. Oof. Thank you. Yes, Debbie, beautiful story. That stranger was sent by angels, ancestors. I agree. Yes. Debbie, wonderful you can receive this love. Yes, yes, yes. That hit a spot for me. Thanks. Of course, Christina. Lotus changed that dialogue with the body. So beautiful. Thank you. Dee, thank you so much for your donation. Yes, he's an angel. He was an angel. He wasn't sure I would understand being in flow. Oh my goodness. Debbie, you have really beautiful experiences. I know you don't seem like it all the time, but they're really profound when you share them with us. Oh, the body conversation, beautiful. Lotus, this is straight channel right now. It's so sweet. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Bethany, I needed to hear that. I spent decades disconnected from my body because of multiple traumas against it. Then with some somatic practices that changed temporarily, but the illness struck. Then cancer. I'm in tears. Thank you. Bethany, I love you first and foremost. I want to make sure that we say that. And secondly, yeah, like I really do hope I hope it helps. And I had to have that conversation again when I was out of remission this year, you know, because of the loss of the pregnancy and then the grief that I experienced with my father. And then this, I was just like, oh, baby, we back in it again. Okay, body, we're out of remission. Okay, and that was my body telling me, you have been grieving, you have been mourning, and I can respect that, but you've also not been taking care of yourself. And I cannot do this on your own, on my own. Like, I need you. I need you to clock in. Okay? I think that might also have been why I laughed when I had the doctor tell me I was out of remission. I was kind of like, oh, really? He was like, this is not funny. But for me, it was just my body telling me, like, girl, I need you back in the game. Please. Because it feels like you want to leave. And you have to still be here because there's things for you to do. So sometimes just shifting that inner dialogue, and it helps us so much to deal with the experiences that we have with our bodies. But our bodies are amazing. They're incredible. The things that they're able to do, despite the illnesses that oh man, like sometimes I'm just like, it can really bring me to tears. Like my body fought for me to be here. Like, such appreciation. Like, whew, okay. I'm gonna center myself so we can actually do the EFT class, okay? Yes, Beth, thank you for sharing. Yes, yes, and I feel the wisdom. Yes, I agree. Yeah, I agree. All right, let's get into round one, okay? Because I don't keep you guys for too long. We're gonna start on the side of the hand. You can lightly tap, pulse, rub, or hover. And I want you to repeat after me. Your voice is medicine. Use your voice, okay? Deep inhale, exhale. All right, let's go. Even though I've been misusing my energy, I deeply and completely honor myself. And go to the top of the head. I release the need to focus on things that drain me. Brow. I let go of the fear of what others think and what others feel. Side eye. I release the distractions that pull me away from my joy. Under the eye. I let go of overthinking and worrying and ruminating about everything. Under the nose. I release the tension I'm holding in my body. Chin. I let go of the worry and fear that has kept me stuck. Collarbone. I release the need to please everyone. Under the arm. I let go of the distractions. And I trust in my ability to focus on what matters, to have discernment, and to trust in my energy. Deep inhale, breathing in. Slow exhale, letting go, softening the shoulders. I want you to think of a number on the tuning scale. -10 being the worst you ever felt. 0 being I don't feel bad, I don't feel good. And then +10 being I feel absolutely amazing. And drop that new number in the chat. And then take a sip of water, okay? And then we're going to do our second round, okay? Oh, Debbie, I'm going to read this in a second because I want to make sure that we read it for the recording because I feel like people need to also hear this too, okay? All right, I'm going to take a sip of my water. I'm doing this to model behavior, not because I really want to sip my water, because honestly, it's just a lot. All right, let's do the second round, y'all. Okay. We're going to do our positive round. Amplifying energy on what actually matters to us, okay? I love citrus water. I don't know what this is. I love lime. I love a citrus water. This is diabolical. All right. Let's get into it. We're going to top here. Take a nice deep inhale, exhale. Beautiful. Repeat after me. I choose to focus my energy on what lights me up. I'll say it one more time. I choose to focus my energy on what lights me up. Top of the head. My energy flows freely towards joy and purpose. Brow. I align my actions with what truly matters to me. No one else. Just me. Side of the eye. I amplify my energy towards the things, people, and places that I love. Under the eye. I choose courage and clarity over fear and worry. And I make that choice effortlessly. Chin. Underneath the nose, excuse me. My body feels calm, energized, and aligned simply from making that choice. Simply from making that declaration. Chin. My mind is clear, focused, and inspired simply from redirecting my energy. I'm going to go to collarbone. I honor my spirit and its limitless potential. Underneath the arm. I am so aligned with the flow of goodness in my life, trusting that my energy will naturally flow to all the goodness and joy and bliss in my life. I want you to drop your hands into your lap. Take a nice deep inhale, breathing in, filling up the lower belly, expanding into the heart space. Slow exhale, release, let go. I want you to notice how you feel in this moment. And I want you to think of that tuning scale. -10 being the worst I've ever felt. the worst you ever felt. 0 being I don't feel good, I don't feel bad. And then positive 10 being the absolute best you've ever felt. And let that number come to you and drop it in the chat and take your final sip of water, okay? And just some insights on tuning scales as you're using it is to help you document your journey to see if your energy is flowing or ebbing. If you notice that your number stays the same, I would always encourage you to re-tap over it over and over again until your number increases so that you can feel better. If you notice that your number decreases, it might mean that there's a bit more resistance in the body towards a topic and you might want to spend some more time tapping. If you notice that your number increases, it means that you are making a connection and making headway with the topic in the body and it's not as heavily embedded as maybe you thought it was, okay? I want to go back to what Debbie said because it was actually very beautiful. Lotus, thank you. Thank you so much for how you're describing chronic illness. Most don't understand. Doctor once told me an autoimmune disease, as your body sending T cells, they are fighter cells, and they are trying to protect us, but it makes you feel horrible. But the body tells us to rest and to take care of it. So important for us to remember. Like our body's always fighting for us. I know that we're kind of taught that it's attacking us, but it is attacking what it feels is a virus, right? And the best thing that we can do is support our body, not only physically by eating well and moving the body, but also mentally, emotionally, and spiritually by speaking life over it, by encouraging it to be able to differentiate and have discernment as to what is an actual virus that you need to fight and what is also yourself. Because the body is fighting against itself and still keeping you alive. That's huge. And also like crazy at how strong the body is. That it can fight itself but still keep you breathing and walking and blinking and eating and chewing. It's doing all of that while fighting itself. And then also maybe fighting an actual virus. That's huge. Such appreciation for our bodies. And if you don't have that, I hope that you're able to cultivate it, okay? Dee, thank you for what you do. This is important work and needed. May you stay strong and blessed. Thank you so much, Dee. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really received that. Clive, thank you for being here. I hope you all are feeling good after the EFT session as well. That was helpful after I was ugly crying and sitting here wondering why I haven't been to your live sooner. Bethany, I'm happy you're here now. Maybe it doesn't matter. It doesn't. This whole live has been amazing, but that was the conversation I needed to have. I'm profoundly affected by it. I want to journal on it and need to have a different dialogue with my body. Unite as a team moving forward, not fighting against it. This has truly been a blessing to me, and it carries more weight knowing you understand. I'm truly grateful for you. Thank you so much, Bethany. Thank you. I'm so grateful that we were able to have that type of heart to heart. So often when you're experiencing chronic illness, you're just like, why am I going through this? These are the moments that affirm why. Because now we're able to connect. We're able to have a bond that's not rooted in trauma, but rooted in healing and evolution. And knowing that you're not alone in what you're experiencing. Though I can't physically go through what you're experiencing, I'm having my own. And I've had those same questions and those same thoughts. And have been fortunate enough to be able to navigate through them. So I'm so happy it inspired you to redefine your relationship with your body. And I really hope you do sit and journal with it because that's a really good way to really work through any other feelings and emotions. And like DM me, let me know how the journey is going. Yeah, like super important, okay? Dee, beautiful, your presence today is such a blessing. I could not agree more. Clive, thank you, Lotus. Hello, goodbye to everybody. Thank you for being here, Clive. Definitely wonderfully said. Thank you for this, Lotus. Thank you for being so open 2 weeks ago. It helped so much to see all your sides. Thank you. They are all beautiful. Thank you. I'm such a softie. These are also very powerful and incredible words, so I take them wholeheartedly. You're a wonderful and inspiring teacher. Thank you so much, Debbie. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for being there with me for 2 weeks ago because I needed all the support I could get. Bethany, thank you so much for your donation. Thank you so very much. I love each and every one of you so much. Thank you for spending all this time with me. I deeply appreciate it. I'm gonna put together a formal blog for you that has like the class notes and everything once the replay is ready on YouTube, and that'll be in Substack as well. So please, if you can, join the Substack. It's my name. I'll drop it here if you haven't joined already. I think we're almost at 100 subscribers, which is incredible. And we have paid subscribers, so they're going to be getting some bonus material. We're doing like rituals and some fun videos and audios for them. So if you want to continue diving in deeper, if this resonates with you, like please join me there. I'm so excited to have a home that fits every part of how I teach in one place, because it not only makes it easier for me to show up, but I know that it's going to make it easier for you guys to get exactly what you need when you need it. Okay? Yes, and join me for the next one. Next week is the sabbatical week, if I'm not mistaken. It's also like the holiday week, which you guys know. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but I know other people do. So our next session is going to be a week afterwards, but I am going to drop an audio in on Substack too to kind of help us. So please watch the replays and check out the audio. And we tap every day and do meditations every day in the Lotus Living section of Insight Timer. So there's tons of resources for you to use during the week off, okay? Yes. Yes, it's Substack. Yes, yes, yes. I don't think it's at substack.com, but lotusaloba.substack, I think it is. Okay? It was an honor to have y'all here with me 2 weeks ago because it was hard. It was not an easy day. It was not easy. But y'all really just kept my spirit alive that day. Yes, I agree too. I love having Jack here. All right, I love you all so much. Please be safe. Please drink your water. Stay hydrated. I was willing to stay hydrated even though it was terrible. Please drink your water, okay? And I will see you all very, very soon, whether it's in an upcoming blog or an upcoming live, okay? I love you so, so much. All right, bye.